Welcome to Biz Tips with Jenny Rice, bringing you insights from real entrepreneurs. No fluff, just raw, practical strategies from those who've been in the trenches. Whether you're launching, scaling, or pivoting, this podcast is your backstage pass to lessons, successes, and game-changing tips. Get ready to learn, take action, and level up. Let's dive in with our next guest.
Hi, this is Jenny Rice with the AI Biz Tips podcast. I'm so very excited about our guest today. We have KP Naidu from Go Align. So welcome, KP.
Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to have you. So why don't you start with a little bit of your background, because I know you have extensive experience with AI, and share a little bit more your progress to where you are today.
Sure. Absolutely. So, I've spent over 35 years in tech and, I learned artificial intelligence 35 years ago. So, people think it's a new field, but it's been around for 60, 70 years. And I've been working at this off and on for the last, 3 decades. So, it's the flavor of the month now, but I've been doing it for a while.
That's great.
That's my background. And, the other thing is also it's, currently, I think the big focus is how to use AI to actually improve and scale your business, right? So that's a really important piece which I'm working on right now.
Absolutely. So tell me more about Go Align, because I was looking at your website and you offer such great AI services for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and companies. So tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So at GoLine, basically what we're doing is, our philosophy is AI is just a tool. It's a technology. It has to actually help people to work in their business, right? So that's the fundamental philosophy. And what we do is we take people all the way from what their goals are to what tasks they need to do to achieve those goals. And the AI can actually help them if they're stuck. In terms of what do I need to do to actually get this. Our AI learns about their business, learns about their policies, and based on that, it gives them suggestions in terms of how they can actually go move forward. So it actually lays out very, very detailed tasks, if you like, for people to actually go do to achieve their goals. As you know, many people have goals and they have intentions, but then they don't translate it into action, right? So this tool actually helps them and gives them a way forward, if you like, with very clearly articulated, well laid out steps. And then if they want, then what we can do is we can actually connect to their systems or to external systems and actually go execute some of those tasks as well. Right? So that makes it a bit easier so that they can then focus on what they want to do. And really makes it much simpler for them to move forward, right? So people often get stuck on that.
Yeah, I love it. It's almost like you're having a member of your board or a member of your C-suite or executive team to sort of say, okay, I'm not an expert in this area. Help me out in this. Help me plan this. Exactly. And then, as you said, maybe even help execute it, right? Because you're right, because a visionary can have vision, but how do I then go implement it? How do I go create those into tasks? It's almost like you have an advisor and a project manager and a doer bee in one.
Exactly. And for teams, what we also offer is basically, as you know, people often use email or whatever to communicate, but a lot of the knowledge gets locked in those emails. It doesn't actually translate back into the business. So our platform is one integrated platform, so they can communicate with each other. They have their tasks in one place. They can communicate. The platform automatically kind of tracks all of that. It nudges people and gives them reminders when they've got to do stuff. And also make sure that when people are stuck, it'll flag and say, oh, hey, you're stuck, either the manager to let them know that, hey, your team is stuck over here because of, and it could be because of a policy or because they lack a resource. So it does a whole bunch of things in terms of on the back end, which is to say, who's overloaded or who has got an opportunity to collaborate with somebody else if there's a larger team and 2 people are working on similar things. So there's lots of ways in which we use AI in the background to actually go and add value to the business, right? So, and they don't have to learn anything in terms of, they don't have to learn prompts or anything. That's taken care of at the back end.
Right. So not only do you analyze their business and come up with a strategy, you offer a platform for them to go and do it, but also reminders and things like so. It's almost like a partner in execution too, right?
Exactly. And then the other advantage which people have is because the technology is evolving so quickly, for them to keep track of what new technologies are coming up is really hard, right? I mean, today it's ChatGPT, then tomorrow it's Grok, and then Google will release another product in 2 weeks or whatever, right? So that's constantly evolving. And it's so very difficult for small teams or entrepreneurs to kind of keep track of that because they're actually trying to run their business. So what we do is we will pick the most appropriate tool for the business, right? So then they don't have to worry about that. We deal with it. They just need to say what they want to do, and we will pick the best tool for them. So, we spend a lot of time to actually analyze what people are doing, what their business is, so that we can actually provide the best tools for them.
That's amazing. I love your solution. It is so needed, so value add. And not only are you leveraging AI, but you're helping businesses say, I'm going to leverage AI to the maximum because I don't want to become an AI expert myself.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And yeah. And so people get stuck on that. And so what we're saying is you focus on your business and we will be your back end solution provider to make sure that your business is successful using AI.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I can see so much value you add to different business. Do you focus on specific industry or type of size of business? Or
actually, so not so much on industry, but so we're focusing on relatively smaller kind of businesses, basically because these small businesses can't afford the huge tech teams to actually go in and do what they need to do to leverage technology, right? So that is the one of the key things. The second thing is we're also focusing on kind of businesses which are not in the tech industry. So they could be in manufacturing, they could be in retail, they could be in in logistics or anything else, right? So in transportation, because those kind of businesses, first of all, they don't have the budget for large tech teams, but they have real needs. Right. And they do need to leverage technology. And it's very difficult for them to actually know what is going on in the technology space, unless they've got, somebody on their team who's like really tech savvy and going and doing that. So that's our kind of focus is small to medium sized kind of businesses, and even agencies. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I did a project with I won't name them, a large retailer and manufacturer of high-end quality men's clothing. And I was working with them on a supply chain, global supply chain,
Right.
and it was to put training together around it. And I remember trying to evaluate their process. And it was so complex, the data inputs, the data outputs. And it's almost like I don't think anybody was really looking at the whole business. They were managing their little pieces.
Exactly.
And we were trying to create that view of the context of the bigger picture of my little input and output impacts the whole big picture.
Right.
But, I don't know if anybody was sort of saying, how can we manage the whole big picture and all the whole processes in order so that little group there that's doing one piece of it understands their role. So I could see a real value where you put all the pieces together, and AI is so much faster than a human to figure it out. They can get it all done, right? So
yeah. And, a key point to that, Jenny, just to piggyback on what you said, is a lot of the processes are developed because we've created these, in a sense, for human beings, we've created silos of departments, right? So we've got shipping, we've got accounting, we've got, logistics, we've got warehousing, and so on and so forth, right? So we've created those because human beings are usually specialized in some one particular area. Whereas with AI now, we can span that. And so the processes can be much simpler. So what was, just imagine taking an invoice or receiving a shipment and then processing it all the way through. It may go through 4 or 5 departments, but one AI flow can actually go handle all of that. Right. So if you understand the process, and that's why it's so important for us to actually go understand what the process is, because then we can simplify it and we can actually bring AI to bear to say, hey, you don't need these 15 steps to go through this whole process. It can be done in 5.
right.
And it's repeatable. And it's, once it's done, it scales very easily.
Right. And you can do SOPs, you can put in a whole bunch of details, tasks, work breakdown structure and all those kinds of things so people know what they need to do by when, et cetera.
Right, exactly. And we can also ensure that it's all policy compliant, right? So
Yeah.
for regulated industries, you've got to make sure that they're in compliance with laws and regulations. And very often, just making sure that you're compliant is an exercise in itself, because for people, they have to go through hundreds of documents, thousands, some of these are hundreds of pages long, each document. And to make sure that you're compliant is a task in itself. It's like, so that can be done by AI and can be done in seconds. One of our clients actually, for their compliance search, we reduced their time to figure out if something's compliant by 98%. I mean, went from days down to literally to minutes.
Wasn't that amazing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, that just frees up their time because it's really mundane, boring work.
Right. You must have so many great testimonials of the impact it's had, right? So
yeah, I mean, because what we do is, a lot of people, we sign NDAs, and so it's hard because it's their inner workings, right? So
right.
we don't kind of talk.
Right. And do you have a big team that does this, or?
No, actually, we have a very small team, and that's the benefit of the AI and the technology. I mean, we have a team of, 5 to 6 people, and we're equal to having like 30 people, because we can do a lot of leverage technology to actually get what we need to get done.
So use it in your own business too, which is great.
Yes, we have one tool, our platform, which we use in our business, and that's it. We don't use anything else. We don't use email. We don't use Slack. We don't use any ticketing systems. Nothing. We just use one system.
And so your system does all those different
everything.
So communication, tracking, tickets that you said, help desk, all those kinds of things.
Everything is done in one platform, and our entire communication is on one platform. And so if we need to know how did we do what we did for this particular project, it's all in one place. We don't have to go search in multiple systems. And our AI can actually just go summarize that and say, okay, here's your task flow. This is what you did. Here are the steps. This is the sequence. Who did what? We can actually flag resource constraints. We can everything. Wow. We know loading on the team. It's all in one place. And so knowledge, I mean, the big thing, Jenny, with insight which we got is knowledge in organizations gets scattered across multiple systems. And in order to actually be effective, you need to harness every bit of knowledge, because that allows you to actually go react to what is happening out in the marketplace. Right. And so if it's in one place, now you can throw a system at it and say, find for me what is my system, what's my process, what nuggets can you pull out from this body of knowledge which I'm giving you, right? So you can actually improve it. Exactly.
Right. So let's give an example of an organization that's saying, hey, we want to expand our product line. We want to expand into a different market, or we want to go to a different geography. So it is going beyond their current products and structure. Right. Would you do analysis in that, strategic analysis, and then help them add on that piece too?
Exactly. So the over there are a couple of different things which you brought up, right? So let's say it's a new product and it's going into a new geography. Well, they may have the market intelligence about the geography they're going into, the market over there. They may have about the competing products, and they may have in terms of what their internal systems need to, how they need to expand or whatever to actually go, deal with the new product in the new geography, right? All of that knowledge can be synthesized now, and we give them almost like a Google-esque query box where they can just go and ask a question, and the back end, the system goes and looks at that entire body of knowledge and comes back and answers their questions, right? And so they can prep, and it can all be policy compliant. That's the cool thing is, like, very often people will figure out to be compliant with policy after they've done something, or while they're doing something, then they find out, oh, this is going to violate this policy or that rule or whatever.
And it flags it.
And then it flags it. Whereas right in the beginning, they can know, hey, if I'm going to do this, these are the policies I need to be aware of, right? And this is the way I go and do it. So then there's no wasted effort for them.
Yeah. Can it work to give you advice on the saying, we want to grow our, our marketplace, we want to grow our market share? What do you recommend that we do
Yes.
in order to do that? That's great.
Exactly. Because so when, so each organization, we create a walled garden for them, to use our system. So we seed it with as much knowledge about that organization as we can. But here's the cool thing. It's not just that. So the knowledge about the organization, whatever policies and rules or regulations which they're working under, all of that is fed into the system. But then over time, it learns about how the business is actually working. So based on what people are doing and how they're doing it, because it's all on one system, the system can actually go and learn and say, oh, this is the flow, or this is what we're doing. And then if you ask it a question, you can come back and say, yeah, based on what you've done, here's my suggestion for how you can, here are the 6 steps which you can go do to actually go achieve this goal.
Right.
And it keeps track of that entire thing. So, as you know, in complex, in organizations, you have a goal, you may have 15 tasks. They're all distributed across people. Right? So the system automatically keeps track and says, okay, which of these tasks are getting done, which is not, is there a blockage somewhere? All of that. It goes and does that.
Right. And do you work with nonprofits and organizations like that?
We haven't yet, but yes, we can work with any organization. It doesn't really matter.
Right. Because they have different needs, but then you just prompt it to say, this is my business. This is what it is.
Yes.
I'm just a not-for-profit, but I still have the same processes, the same, hesitations, the same, issues that any other business would have. It's just
yeah. I mean, people often forget. They think a nonprofit means that you should be losing money. No, actually, nonprofits can make money. It's just that they're going to spend their money on on doing what their mission. So they don't have shareholders, but they have stakeholders, and they have to spend their money to actually improve the lives of their stakeholders in whatever shape or form that they're doing it, right? So, and if anything, nonprofits are even more concerned about being efficient in what they do.
Right. So they don't have the same money. And I'm just thinking of a nonprofit because I work with a lot of nonprofits. Like, would you help them with grant writing, and white papers and things like that?
We haven't actually done that, but I mean, that's relatively straightforward to go
right.
through. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it won't be 100% perfect straight out the bat, right? But it'll get you 90% there, and then you
have to tweak
10%. And then you can tweak it, right? So at least it saves the initial 5 or 6 hours of whatever you need to go do. If you've got your background research and all of those documents already ready, then yes, absolutely, the system can go and pull out from there and create a draft for to answer the questions which are there on a grant form or whatever.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Almost feels like you should be doing this for families and individuals on everything from health to well-being, eating to family scheduling or something too.
Unfortunately, people have got addicted to free apps, and so it's very difficult to get people to pay for it. And because don't get me wrong, I mean, some of this technology to actually go use it is not cheap, but because we can leverage it across multiple customers, we can actually go provide that technology, right? So yeah, so that's one of the advantages which you bring is for an individual or a small group to afford some of this technology and afford some of the expertise which you bring, it would cost them tens, even maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But because we can do it, and we can leverage the knowledge or the experience from other places, we can actually bring to bear and say, okay, here, for you to go do this is what it's going to take, and it's going to be much more cost effective for it.
Right. Well, when I think about something like you do, the ROI is so direct and so clear that it's almost like a no-brainer. It's almost like, why would you not do this? Because I'm being so much more efficient in what I'm doing, benefit, and I'm going to sleep better at night knowing that things are being taken care of. I don't have the what ifs, what am I missing? Those kinds of things. Right?
Yeah, there's no, that is absolutely one of the things which we've been told is, people are busy running their business, right? So it could be anything. It could be running a manufacturing business or whatever else, running a research, a biotech research. And so it's very easy for them to forget some of the things which they need to get done, but the system doesn't forget, right? So it'll keep them on track. It'll nudge them and say, hey, this is what you need to go do here's what is due today, and here's what is due this week, and what have you, right? And yeah.
I love it. I can see a lot of applications for this. So I'm going to refer you to a lot of people that I know. So
Thank you.
yeah. So it's been great having you on this podcast. As we end the podcast, do you have any tips for entrepreneurs or solopreneurs on how they can leverage AI?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I have a couple of tips. So one is feel free to experiment. People are afraid of going out and experimenting. And I say, no, go and experiment. The cost to experiment is really cheap. I mean, if people are thinking about, I want to make a video. Well, go ahead. Most of them have free plans, so you can go and, experiment, right? See what works for you. So that's one tip. The second thing is for people who are, particularly for entrepreneurs, we're kind of in the mode of, in the beginning, we think, okay, I can do 15 things. I can go and help 15 different customers and do all of that. And what I've learned to it, just from my experience, is focus on a small group, 1 to 2 to 3 customers, right? And then you will actually understand what it takes to go build a product or provide a service to those people and make them really happy, right? And once you do that, now you've got an advocate on your side who's actually going to go and say, yeah, this is good. They're going to refer you and what have you. So it's very easy. And sometimes you have to say no to an opportunity, which but you're focusing. And so in that focus, what happens is you start thinking deeply about what you're doing for that customer. And so you really develop the depth of knowledge. And once you do that, it's very different. It's very sticky. What you're doing is very sticky, right? So the customer is going to love you because you're learning about their business as much as they know.
Right. What a great tip. Very, very insightful. Well, I've loved having you as a guest. I've learned something, which is pretty exciting. So I want to thank you for being a guest on this podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been great. This is Jenny Rice with IA Biz Tips Podcast with KP Naidu from Go Align. Got it right. You got it right. Okay.
That's a wrap on this episode of Biz Tips. For more insights, join us online. We share exclusive tips, resources, and strategies to help you grow and scale your business. Until next time, keep building, innovating, and making an impact.